Hello, everybody, and welcome to the special Wednesday edition of Blizzard Watch. No pre-show this week because we've got to get right to it. We got two big things of news, one of which contains several other big things of news inside of it, like a Matryoshka doll. So we're just going to straight up say, first off, we're getting patch 10.0.7 on March 21st. That is, so if you are doing anything and you're like trying to get ready for 10.0.7, you've got till March 21st, which at this point means you've got like 12 days. So yeah, there's that.
It's really coming up on us. I think this is the day we predicted, Blizzard Watch predicted.
Yeah, I mean,
that is correct.
Close to it, if not the 21st. It was actually the 21st?
It was the 21st.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it felt like it made the most sense.
Strategically, like timeline-wise, it fit the best.
But in addition to that, another really big thing of news is that today they released the kind of preview, just a lot of information really, on patch 10.1, the beginning of season 2, which is now we know it's called Embers of Neltharion. In addition to all the other stuff we know about it, we also know that the PTR for it is apparently tomorrow, March 9th.
So if you listen to this podcast when it goes live on Friday, PTR is right there for you to check out.
Yeah, it was
yes.
So,
I'm excited. You know what? I'm legitimately excited about the PTR this time around too, which is fantastic. 'Cause I've been kind of like, on the last couple ones, like, I'll get to it when I get to it. But this one, I'm like, no, I'm going to spend some time here. I wanted to, I'm going.
Yeah, it is a lot to handle because of the inconveniences of medical care. Liz is going to go in and she's going to basically read the various topics because there is a ton. There's stuff I even left out when I was writing the email, like for instance, crafting. I didn't mention crafting because it was just so much stuff, and I was like, oh God, did I get it all? And I didn't. But yeah, tons of stuff to talk about. So Liz, if you don't mind guiding us through all this.
Absolutely. So patch 10.1, actually Blizzard PR emailed me about this, and it was so early that I was like, that has to be a typo. Patch 10.1? We don't even have patch 10.0.0, and we're talking about 10.1. But I am super hyped. The biggest feature, I think, it's getting left as a footnote in a lot of write-ups, but I think the biggest feature is cross-faction guilds are finally coming to World of Warcraft following the addition of cross-faction grouping towards the end of Shadowlands. What do y'all think about cross-faction coming full circle?
Finally!
I think Joe might be slightly excited.
So I accidentally boosted
Please breathe.
I accidentally boosted an alliance character on my main server, and I'm like, this is sad because I don't have a guild and I'm not about to find another guild because that's exhausting. And I've been with my current guild for years at this point. I like literally last week was just like, I wish I could just invite it here. We already have cross-faction groups. Why don't we have guilds at this point? And then they gave it to us and I'm like, thank you. This makes me so happy because I have all these alliance tunes that are like literally just floating around in the cluster that is like for, because ours is Drendon and Arathor. Like they're on those two servers and I can potentially finally have them in guild and take advantage of like guild stuff. This excites me. I'm very excited for this. Sorry.
No, nothing to be sorry about. Personally, I have a lot of questions, which hopefully will be answered by the time you guys actually listen to this. But so just in case, I want to know if it's retroactive. Like, do we have to is there a toggle you have to switch? Do you have to turn your guild into a cross-faction guild, or can you just start inviting people into your guild? I want to know that.
So I think they want to test that, right? Like they said flat out that they want to test the functionality. So I don't know if they know how that's going to work yet.
That's exactly what I'm saying. But that's the first thing I want to know. The second thing I want to know is how functional is it? Like, what can't you do cross-faction? Because keep in mind, there's a lot of old content that you can't do cross-faction right now. There's like old dungeons and raids, specifically ones that have any sort of mention of the Alliance or the Horde. Icecrown Citadel comes to mind. The Trial of the Crusader dungeons and raids, they come to mind. But also, right now, the way cross-faction grouping works is you have to do instance content. And I'm wondering, can a guild group do open world stuff together even though some
I'm-
of them are Horde and some of them are Alliance. That's another thing I want to know.
Yeah. Also, I'm curious how crafting is going to work too, because one of the big benefits of having a guild is leveraging your guildmates' abilities in the professions category. Like, I literally just reached out and had a guildie make a ring for me because I haven't been able to upgrade it in forever. And I'm wondering if that's going to be a service that's also available cross faction, because that's sort of like a huge tenet of the guild.
And Liz, you've got stuff for crafting, right?
Not as much crafting stuff as I would. Oh, crafting as in, yeah, just ignore me. I've been like working nonstop for the past like 12 hours, and then the same yesterday. Crafting in patch 10.0. One thing. It's been a day, guys.
Yes.
It's been a day. So we know a little about crafting, not a lot. We know you're going to be able to upgrade your current crafted gear, which you may be excited about that because you can keep, you got that elemental lariat, which is really awesome. You get to keep it and upgrade it to level. On the other side, it kind of sounds like we're going to have more profession points we need to grind, or more recipes to find, or more reagents to hunt down. And that really kind of sounds like a headache. That makes me sound really tired just thinking about it. But there's also going to be another upgrade system outside of crafting, which is actually what I was thinking about talking about, even though I may have said crafting when I...
Oh, go ahead and talk about that.
For you, Matt.
Yeah. By all means, explain this to me, because I saw it and I didn't really know exactly what was going on with it. So by all means.
There is a whole new upgrade system. Blizzard is saying that, upgrading stuff in-game is really complicated with all of these different systems.
Yes, it is.
And they're going to try... Yeah, and they're going to try and make this new system for PvE content. PvP is still going to have its own thing, so it's like, okay, well, there's still different things. And it's very interesting. There's going to be a new currency, which also makes me feel very tired. So we got a lot of currencies already. And you'll pick up a new currency by doing just about everything in game. You do a world quest, you'll get a little bit of this currency. You do dungeons, you do raids, you do Mythic Plus. You'll just kind of naturally collect currency as you play, doing different activities. And you will also pick up different... wow, I forget what they're called. There's like an upgrade item. You need a certain amount of currency plus an upgrade item. And you'll get like different levels of upgrade item through doing different content. So, like, if you're doing a raid that drops 440 eye level content, you get tokens from that raid, which will let you upgrade gear to something along the lines of what that raid has. So, as you do content, you will get these tokens that will let you upgrade your gear to be kind of in line with what you get. So it seems like a really good sort of bad luck protection. So
that's really good, actually.
One piece really low. You have one piece really low gear. You will be able to upgrade it to match the rest of your gear. Like, I'm 400 eye level right now. We've been doing heroic Vault of the Incarnates for quite a while now. I'm still wearing 2 pieces of World Quest gear. Yeah. And that's ridiculous.
That's what's holding me back. Is I mean, if you look at my gear, I've got like 402 helmet, 402 shoulders, 408 chest, and then boom, 382 belt from World Quests.
Yeah, I think I'm still rocking 372 shoes or something like that as well. Like,
yeah.
But which is weird, and this is a whole other topic that we can get into another point, is like, have we with this upgrade process, have we finally reached the point where eye level will actually matter versus raw stats?
I mean, I think that it does to a degree. It does to a degree already. It depends on the class. Some classes absolutely have to go for stats over everything else. Others, you hit a point and the stat stacking is no longer useful because of the changes they made at the end of Shadowlands. So it's kind of a gray area right now, and I hope that it gets more established for every class. But I did want to say, one of the things somebody in our Discord, I think it might have been Tetsemi, I'm not sure, said a thing where he added me and was like, as a Fury Warrior, I don't see anything in this that upsets me. Why is that? And they have their somewhat quip. It's a quippy answer, but basically there's some kind of like discount once you've done an upgrading. It makes other things you try to upgrade cost less. Is that correct?
It's like for alts. So if I have a character with 400 eye level, any character, and I have an alt who's wearing like a 350, then I can go in, and as long as the alt has an upgrade token, I can upgrade to like the same level as my main with half of the currency cost. So
But
it's
it also-
really going to help
But
get
it
your
also
alts up
works
there.
for Fury Warriors who are upgrading their second two-hander. Like if you have a two-hander and you upgrade it, the Fury Warrior and only Fury Warriors get to do it again for a discount. Because otherwise Fury Warriors always spend twice as much on everything. Like they always have to get the second two-hander, and it always costs just as much, so you're spending twice as much as everybody else.
Yeah,
And now they're
that
going
does
to
seem
discount
that's
that.
good. Yeah, that's a good equalizer. That's
Yeah.
that's definitely a nice addition.
That's like when they said at the end of their answer, they were like, "We're sorry that we forgot to do anything to punish you for being a Fury Warrior. Please forgive us." And I'm like, on the one hand, haha. On the other hand, you have been doing it for several years. I'm not going to forgive you just because one time you did a nice thing. But yeah, I wanted to mention that because I remembered that it was. So this is going to be the major upgrade thing for patch 10.1. Are we still going to have like, Valor and stuff?
Nope. Gone. We're going to have the PvP upgrade system is the way it always works, the way it's working now. But for PvE, for Mythic Plus, for raid gear, for all of your Season 2 PvE gear, this is going to be the system. And Blizzard intends to watch this system and see how it works and decide at the end of the season, okay, did this work well? Do we want to keep using it? Or was this, a hot mess and we want to throw it in the trash and start over? I personally would really like to pick an upgrade system and stick with it so I can get used to it and learn it and not have to learn a new system every other patch. So I hope it works well. It sounds like some really interesting features, some nice bad luck protection, which I could use some of that.
Another question I wanted to ask: is this intended to replace the I'm trying to remember the name of it now, and I can't. Wow, brain just not
Revival
working.
Catalyst.
Thank you. Is it going to replace that too?
I don't think so. I was told that the Revival Catalyst is going to remain, but we don't know a lot of details about how it will work, how you will use it to change gear to tier gear. So it may still be its own thing out there.
Which, I mean, it's currently not very bad. Like, it's fine. It's pretty quick to get a charge, and the fact that it's account wide is pretty good. So I don't know if there's too much cause to change it? ?
I mean, I read somewhere in one of the many interviews that they've been doing that they are a little concerned with how tier gear has become practically a necessity. Since they've returned tier gear in Shadowlands, raid guilds, especially high-end ones, are basically requiring you to have 4Ps.
Well, let's specify. It's not tier gear; it's tier sets.
Yes, it's the set bonus in particular, and I know that from personally, I have been using the Catalyst every week because I get a lot of stuff that is like an upgrade, but not really an upgrade. And I have very high level tier because I've just taken that gear from the Catalyst. I've just said, okay, give me the 4 instead of these 408 pants that are useless to me, give me my tier set with 408 at item level 408. So in that way, I've never even gotten a piece from the boss drops. I've never gotten one of the little token things that you click on and turns into your tier. Never once have I even seen, until I think 3 weeks ago, I'd never even seen a warrior one drop. No, that's not true. I did see one drop. It went immediately to a priest. But other than that, I hadn't seen it. Then they started dropping, but by then I had 4Ps because of the Catalyst, and I was like, "Thank you, Catalyst." I mean, warrior tier gear is not very good. The step bonus is not great, but it's still better than getting a piece of gear that's itemization is just not good.
And that's kind of just the problem with tier sets in general, right? And we talked about this beforehand, which is a tier. Anything that gives you a bonus of some sort has the potential to either, for some classes, be absolutely worthless, or for some classes be absolutely game breaking. And we saw it in the past, and it's sort of the same thing where some classes benefit really heavily from their set bonuses because they're just very, very good. So the fact that they're paying attention to it is actually a good thing. And the fact that they're looking at it from a perspective of, the Catalyst, I'm just going to keep calling it the catalyst because it's probably going to change every expansion. But because the catalyst exists, the question is, though, does that make that problem less a problem for players, or does it feed into the problem? And I personally think it makes it easier for players, because converting stuff into tier is just, here you go, and then it doesn't matter how far behind you are as far as drops in a raid go, because you can just make your tier sets, right? So,
but now we know we've got catalysts coming back in some form. There's going to be this new upgrade item system. Let's talk about dragon riding, right, Liz? You've got that for us, don't you?
Yes, dragon riding. One of the things I really love about this is that first I should say there's a whole new zone that's going to be a little bigger than Zereth Mortis, and it's a giant cave under the Dragon Isles called Zarelek Cavern. It's cavern, singular, not caverns, plural, which is a mistake I've already made like 50 times.
And we're going to continue to make.
Today. Yeah, we're going to... So Zarelek Caverns, giant cave under the Dragon Isles, but we are going to be able to fly in this cave. We could even take our dragon riding mount and fly right into the cave on day one. We do not have to re-earn dragon riding, which I think is great. But there will be more dragon riding things to acquire. There are going to be new glyphs and a new ability where you can regain vigor by like skimming along the ground, so that you don't just have to be going like super fast and flying really high. That's probably going to be really good in a cave, because it's a big cave, really big cave, but it does have ceilings. So
that would have made the Azure span so much nicer.
I know, right? It is so hard, especially if you're going the wrong direction to get enough height to get any Azure span.
Yeah, Azure span from, say, the direction of Thraxis down is beautiful. It's the easiest zone ever. Trying to go the other way. Yeah, the other way is like literally just landing. I better mind something, because otherwise I'm just wasting some time. Landing. Yeah. So I'm actually pretty happy about that too. And the new dragon looks really cool.
The winding slither drake.
Yeah, it's kind of more like a cloud serpent than the other dragons. I'm really happy they're introducing new looks for these. One of the things Blizzard did talk about is that they have heard our demands to get our normal mounts to act like dragon riding mounts so that we can fly them.
And they say
they
have
heard our
really
demands. Hard. They said it was really hard, because dragon riding mounts have really specific animations that give them that kind of fit the speed they're moving, fit the way their wings are flapping, and all of the standard mounts just don't have that. They go up, they go down, they flap their wings in a certain way, and it just like you just can't say, okay, this is a dragon riding mount, because it doesn't do the animations right. So all we know about that is that they have heard our cries, because really, I just want to have a bunny made of water that I fly around the Dragon Isles at high speeds. It doesn't even have wings, so surely this could work, right? Yeah, but Blizzard knows this is something we want, so maybe...
The possibility of me getting to ride my Slivern as a dragon riding mount makes me happy, even if it's just a possibility.
Yeah, it's definitely. I wasn't surprised to read that response. I mean, there are certain mounts that I think shouldn't be hard. Like, we already have a Proto Drake, so certain other Proto Drakes shouldn't be that hard to rig up with the same wiring. But there's tons of mounts that like Mim's head. How is Mim's head going to dragonfly? It's like it's a big ball with rotors on it. It just, I don't.
It would feel weird.
Yeah, I'm not expecting.
It would feel weird to dragon ride without that kind of. That energetic motion that your dragon has flapping its wings. Yeah,
absolutely.
There will also be new dragon riding races in 10.1, which I think dragon riding races are really interesting, and I am really bad at them, and I'm definitely not going to get better at them when I have to do them inside a cave. I'm just trees hitting walls and ceilings.
The trees jump out of nowhere. It's just going to be stalactites jumping out of nowhere. Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, I definitely do not get better than like bronze on all
Yeah.
of the existing ones.
I'll do them
I
all
don't
to
think
get
it's gonna.
bronze. Yeah, I'll do them all to get
Mhm.
bronze, but then I'm pretty much like, meh. Maybe if I need to do it for a quest, but otherwise,
Mhm.
yeah, I know my limits, and getting high scores in dragon riding is not one of them. I like doing them, but yeah.
They're really neat. They're interesting content. The world quests actually give pretty good gold too. I mean, they're worth doing, but man, I am just bad at them. So Zeralek Caverns, we kind of talked about that. It is a big cave with some different zones in it. Part of it's like this fiery lava area. Part of it is like this sort of slimy area, the sulfur pools, which is where Neltharion tossed his discarded experiments. So that kind of has, that familiar Maldraxxus kind of feel where there's lots of, weird, slimy things hanging out.
Stares at Blackwing Descent.
Yeah. There's kind of a theme with the Black Dragonflight where we experiment with terrible things, and that didn't work. I'm going to throw it in the trash. For it to become a horrible, angry creature that wants to murder everything it sees.
Why am I picturing that scene and it's like Adam Driver, but instead it's like Neltharion, and it's like screaming at Aman'Thul, "I learned it from you, Dad!" Like that's I don't like that. That just keeps playing over and over in my head.
What gets me about that whole
boy.
thing, the whole thing with the Black Dragonflight and their experiments and so forth, is that it's just like I keep imagining the Black Dragonflight as that. I don't know if you've heard that meme, but here, I don't want the consequence of my actions chasing me right now. It's kind of like that. They just constantly do these things, and then it's like, did you know that it grew into a horrible mutated monster thing? Oh, of course it did. Yeah.
Listen,
you would do that.
If the Titan Watchers can do it, the dragons certainly can as well. Goon says hi.
It's definitely a theme, just in World of Warcraft in general. A lot of people do bad things or stupid things and walk away, and we, the players, have to deal with it. Doesn't always go well for anyone. But one of the things in Zeralek is we will have a new faction and a new renown that is led by the Niffin, a new race of mole people who are, I gotta say, they're pretty adorable. We don't know we don't know how far the renown levels will go. We don't know exactly what the rewards are yet. That's still under development. But we do know that the Niffin, that's the only new renown. We're not getting new renown levels to grind for any of the other factions in Dragonflight. So that's it. Don't have to worry about anything else but the new Niffin. We will also be seeing the Drogbar in the Zeralek Caverns.
Yay.
Oh, see, I'm stuck with caverns in my head. One big cavern. Okay, Liz, it's one cavern. I need to write this on my monitor or something.
We're still gonna mess it up. It's just gonna be an internal thing. Just accept it.
Just imagine yourself inside your head as you, but wearing those kind of glasses that have a chain on them, instead of and you just hold up your glasses and go, Elizabeth, it's cavern. And I don't know why you're a snooty British person all of a sudden, but you just do that every time. And okay, yeah, I'm gonna remember just so I can shut you up, weird British me.
Oh,
but yeah, I'm interested to see that because, the last time we saw the Drogbar, they were in High Mountain, basically in and around Neltharion's lair. So it feels like he imported them. Yeah, it feels like he imported them from here, and we're going to get to meet the original ones. Hopefully they're friendly, because man, I don't want to deal with that.
It does look like they are friendly. They're friends with a Niffin, and we're gonna have some snail racing. I know we've all been waiting for snail racing to officially arrive in the game as an event. It looks like patch 10.1. That's the day when we will be able to go and race our own snails.
I'm looking forward to that. I've been waiting for that.
There's also another event down there that's cave diving or something like that with the Niffin. I have not heard any details on it, just that it's going to be an event. And hopefully it's going to be less buggy than rock climbing out in the world that you do for the Dragonflight.
Watch it be a giant game of whack-a-mole with the Niffin.
That would. Oh, but the Niffin are our friends. We are not supposed to hit them. Hopefully. There are also Dejardin down in the Zeralite Caverns. This is the ancestral home of the Dejardin. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, I think I
Probably,
just
maybe.
slur it. I go to Jardin, and that way it's close enough.
If you say it fast enough and you kind of blur the letters together, that's no one will
Jardin.
notice. No one
Sure,
will
yeah.
notice.
Jardin, whatever, Jardin. So yeah,
It sounds like a fancy mustard.
Yeah, it does. It really doesn't it? Jardin makes sandwiches good. But yeah, I am looking to see what they're bringing to the table, because it seems like them and the Incarnates are sort of like working together, and like we don't really know what, like when you're in a Vault of the Incarnates, you got that bit just before the council where there's the Jardin and that one pole right before the council that our tanks refuse to use CC on, so it's just fire everywhere all the time.
You know, there's actually like there's some RP during that point where they talk about working with the Incarnates just because they're useful for now. So
yeah, they say, until we find our elder. So maybe that can get picked up in the caverns. That would be cool.
We do know that they are not going to be friendly, and also there's going to be a world boss down there, which is actually a pair of Dejardin elders. Which so this may come together in an interesting way.
And now I'm just kind of hoping it's not. The council in Vault of the Incarnates has the mechanic where they don't share health pools, but you have to kill them at the same time.
Oh yeah.
I'm hoping we don't get another one of those, man. That is not.
Those fights are always rough.
Just last night where we were doing a normal run, but for alts and stuff, because our main tank was feeling kind of sick. By the way, Matt, I hope you feel better. So we were like, we'll just do a normal night, and we pretty much did well. I think we cleared up to I think it was Brood. I want to say Brood Lair, but that's not. It was Brood Mother and Razageth left, and we killed Razageth the other day, so we were pretty confident that we can take them. But since we were just doing it on normal, we kept we would steamroll some stuff, but other stuff we kept messing up. We nearly got council. We killed one of the council guys way too soon, and then it was just okay, quickly burn everything else. So yeah, I'm hoping not to see that mechanic come back anytime soon. It is not one of my favorites.
So, of course, it's a big new patch. It's the beginning of a new season. We are also getting a new raid called Aberrus, the Shadowed Crucible. This is Neltharian. We got too many of these. Dragons need to get on this unique naming thing. Neltharian. Yeah, I got it. Okay. This was his laboratory under the Dragon Isles, where all of his secrets are hidden. So we know story-wise, we're going to be going down there and discovering what Neltharian was up to, alongside the other members of the Black Dragonflight, who will be learning all of this at the same time we are. None of them know exactly what Neltharian into. And one thing that I was really excited to hear is that Abyssian will be coming with us down there. We have not seen much of Abyssian, and it's always been kind of okay, Rathian and Sibelian are up here duking it out for leadership, but I'm Team Abyssian here. So where's my boy? Do you all have any opinions on how this story is going to play out, or what are we excited to see finally at long last, kind of where things went wrong for Neltharian?
Go ahead. You want to go first, Joe, or you want me to?
Go for it.
Okay. First off, name Aberrus definitely has old god secrets.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
And the thing looks like an old god. If you look at the lab, the pictures of it, it's yee! That thing looks like that looks like something you'd expect to come erupting out of the earth and hitting you with tentacles. So right there's that. Also, I'm definitely curious to see what's in there. I think one of the fights is that you guys mentioned in work chat was an Elementium dragon of some kind, and that's interesting because that's something that
it was apparently.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it was apparently something that Neltharian experimented on, putting Elementium plates on this dragon, and now it's been abandoned here and has probably gone insane and wants to destroy us.
What's interesting is
the model.
He would have been doing that before he needed them himself.
Oh yeah.
But it was always part of his plan, yeah.
He got to this place and he already had the technology to rivet metal plates to himself. So Barris is going to be a 9-boss raid. We do not know a whole lot about what we're going to find in there, except we do know that, okay, someone else is going to have to give me the name. The Scale Commander. What? But the Scale Commander, who kind of ran off at the end of the Drakthir starting experience, that is going to be the final boss of this raid. We do know from the patch 10.0.7
Cinderthresh, by the way,
cinematic that came out. Was it Cinderthresh? No, Cinderthresh is the kind of alliance Drakthir.
Is it?
And then Emberthal. No, Cinderthresh is the Horde Drakthir. Emberthal is the alliance. Yes, yes, that ran off. That said, It said, "The heck with both of you! I am leaving and forming my own cult of Drakthir, and we're going to reclaim our heritage." Well, he's out there trying to reclaim the Drakthir's heritage by going into his lab and claiming its power for this faction. And he's going to be the final boss, which I think is really interesting because I hadn't thought of this alternate Drakthir faction as like the big threat, but it looks like they're going to be the main antagonist of 10.1.
I guess it makes sense, right? Like, I mean, we didn't exactly see them part on Warm and Fuzzies, and they haven't been around for the stuff we've been doing, except for maybe like hearing what we've been mucking around with. So yeah, I could see them being antagonistic towards us. No problem. I could see that.
Plus, I mean, it would be kind of soon to like have the other 3 incarnates die. Like I know one of them, Firak, I think, the fire one.
Yeah,
he's mucking about in all of this too, but it feels like it would be kind of early to have all 3 of them get, like even one of them to get killed.
No, it's gonna be an extended release thing.
Yeah, so it makes sense to have somebody else be the main antagonist of at least the raid. I did want to say too, since you'd asked about my feelings about the storyline. My greatest hope is to see Abyssian at some point just sit Sibelian and Rathian down and go, if you guys don't stop, I will turn this entire Dragonflight around.
Yes, I need this.
You will go right back to the Obsidian Citadel. You will not find out Father's secrets. You will not pass go. You will not collect 200 dragon dollars. Straighten up and fly right. You guys are just embarrassing us. Even the dragons that just go to the beach all the time are embarrassed by you.
I do love to see Rathian and Sibelian bickering. It's so funny, but also it's like, okay, just stop, get it together. None of you are leadership material if you're going to act like this. Come on.
Yeah, it is just, yeah. But I mean, I do also like seeing them because it is, I'll never forget that bit where he's like, where Sibelian's going, whelps these days. It's like, I'm getting too old for this sort of thing. It's great. I am really looking forward to seeing more of that.
I mean, I think we're all too old to put up with Rathian at this point, but this is what we got. This is what we got to deal with. This is the problem in front of us, and there's no escaping it. We don't know a whole lot about the story yet, but they want us to get through 10.07, and 10.07 is supposed to be really sending us towards our next goal. We don't know all of the story of 10.07 yet either, but we will find out soon on the 21st. Man, what have I forgotten to talk about? There's so much, and it feels like we've been talking for so long. So Dragonflight Season 2 will also include a new Mythic raid rotation, which, I've heard... Actually, I don't think I've heard anyone react positively to this. We will be getting Brackenhide Hollow, Halls of Infusion, Alderman Legacy of Tyr, and Neltharius as the current Dragonflight dungeons in this rotation. And we're going to get the Battle for Azeroth dungeons, Freehold and Underrot, the Legion dungeon, Neltharian's Lair, which seems to be a really good fit because Neltharian, Drogbar, Snail Racing, it's all there. It's all happening. And the Vortex Pinnacle from Cataclysm.
That seems like an interesting choice. Sorry, go ahead.
It's interesting because I think when Blizzard first rolled out these old dungeons into rotation, they were like, yeah, we're definitely not gonna go back further than Mist because those old dungeons feel old. They would need too much rebalancing. We're not gonna go back to Cataclysm, definitely. And here we go with the Vortex Pinnacle. Which
I guess makes sense because Vortex Pinnacle was relatively quick and fairly straightforward.
Yeah, that's true.
So like, it probably is the easier choice out of those older dungeons to tune for a Mythic. I'm actually really happy with this list as a whole, except for Breckenhide Hollow. I hate that dungeon. That dungeon is the bane of my existence. So like, if I never saw that, I'd be fine. But everything else is fine. Like all them on Legacy of Tyr, like we kind of expected that to hit the rotation, and it seems like now's a good point too, especially because
we're advancing that story too. Yeah,
we're advancing that story, which makes sense. Neltharius makes sense. Neltharian's Lair makes sense. Like Underrot's an interesting choice though too. Like Freehold and Underrot were notoriously, I don't want to say finicky, but they could be quite devastating. Underrot just because of the sheer density of mobs. So I'm wondering how that's going to look in a tuned version. And then the problem that I remember with Freehold was just finding the correct percentages and moving through it, because it always felt like it was just like a slog. So I don't know. I'm curious about that.
I'm interested if they're trying to make a story connection between Brackenhide Hollow and Underrot, because Underrot was because of Gahoon.
Yes.
And then the rot that we've seen in Brackenhide, no one has explained what that is or where the decay stuff comes from. But it could very well, again, be old god related. It might be something out of Aberrus. We don't know where Aberrus physically is. We know it's under the Dragon House, but we don't know which zone it's under yet, do we?
I don't think we know. Well, I think it's under all the Black Dragon stuff in Waking Shore, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's in
Zeralek Cavern, but I think it's under all of that.
I think Liz is correct, because I was kind of poking around at this, and I think that's where they said it was going to be. So, but it would make sense. It would also make sense that the Seat of Power is, sitting above where all this stuff is.
It's like the basement.
Yeah, and it would also explain why, like, the key to it was hidden in the Forbidden Reach. Far away from where it actually is, or at least far enough away that it wasn't a problem. So, yeah, it'll be curious. But there's also other changes coming to the Mythic Pluses, right, Liz?
Oh, yes. There are some very interesting changes coming with the affixes. I think there's kind of a little bit of unhappiness with affixes. I know last week was particularly rough if you wanted to find a healer to come with you, because every healer was just like, no.
It's the 1 week I can find groups because nobody else will do it.
Because no one wants to deal with that. So the biggest changes: no more level 10 affix, no seasonal affix. Thundering is going away, as it usually would, but it is not going to be replaced. There is just not going to be an affix of this nature anymore. So just the level 4 and level 7 affixes are going to be the rotating affixes. And after that, it's just the difficulty will scale, but they're not going to add another pile of mechanics on top of you. Blizzard is also re-evaluating those level 7 affixes, and they said we're going to see them revamped in 10.1. They weren't real clear, weren't real specific about how, and this is apparently still a work in progress that will show up later in the PTR cycle. I do think this is good, because you wind up getting a pile of affixes that don't work together or just frustrating. One of the things Morgan Day has said is that they want affixes to have counterplay, for it to feel like something like, okay, I can play really well and I can work with this, instead of just be like a huge headache, which I think the design intent sounds really good. We'll see how it works out.
Yeah, like right now.
What do y'all think?
Yeah, right now I've noticed that certain ones, like what's erupting, is that the one with the blood just exploding everywhere? Which I know them by what they do less than what their names are. But the one where there's like the blood circles every time you kill something, it just explodes. Yeah, sanguine.
Sanguine.
That's one that just seems like it exists just to make there be more damage, and not to create any kind of gameplay at all. All it does is make more damage.
Although that one's not as bad as stuff like Volcanic, which is another mechanic that is adding more damage, but also interrupts your casts because it knocks you into the air. It's a mixed bag, right? Affixes they're interesting in some capacities, and some combinations of them are actually fun. And some players really like the extra complexity of them, Like, I particularly liked the Battle for Azeroth, when we started doing the higher keys and you started doing the extra mini bosses and stuff like that. I thought that was a really interesting way to liven up dungeons that you had basically been running since day one. So I don't mind like higher stuff like that, but I'm wondering if they'll add stuff in that particular genre, like at the 10 plus, like as a toggle that is an option that maybe gives you more mythic points or whatever. Because I maybe this is an unpopular opinion. I didn't mind things like thundering. It wasn't great, but like it was fine.
One of the things I've disliked about Mythics in this expansion is that it oftentimes feels like the trash is so much harder than the bosses.
Oh, 100% it is. Absolutely.
And I don't feel like I should feel like the trash is the real enemy, and then when the boss shows up, I can relax and we're at a boss now. That doesn't feel right to me. That's not that's not how content should work.
I just view like we went from fighting Hydra to fighting Hydra that got infected with vampirism. It's fine. It's not a big deal. You just and then everybody got quiet.
Blizzard has actually said that they are looking at the dungeons themselves too. They're not just playing with affixes, but they're looking at like pain points, places where there's too much trash, places where you have to have like specific interrupt rotations on several trash mobs at the same time, which really up the complexity and just can really pile on when you have all of this going on top of the affixes. So they are looking to kind of smooth out the experience. We'll see.
Here's an interesting thought for you. Do you think that if they were to add more affixes at the lower tier so that the combinations were like not always the same, like weren't the same pattern and would rotate a little bit more and have more different combinations, that you would find it more enjoyable potentially? Like maybe not game breaking ones, but like trying to find more interesting, engaging things. And like, maybe it's not always, as Padilla's pointing out in chat here, fortified and raged, which I agree should be illegal. Maybe it's fortified and like, I don't know, Whimsyshire or something where like randomly a unicorn pops out and you have to kill the unicorn or whatever. Like maybe adding more stuff in the rotation.
Guys, I've got it. I fixed Mythics. I know what we need.
Oh, this is going to be good.
Double treasure goblins.
Yeah. Add treasure goblins to WoW in the dungeon.
Double treasure murlocs. Make them murlocs.
Make them murlocs.
Okay. I actually have something for you in the theme of treasure goblins, Matt, and it's so good. It's in patch 10.07, so we're going to be seeing it sooner. So in 10.07, kind of taking a right turn on this conversation here, we have the Ziskera, I may be saying that wrong, Ziskera vaults, where you will earn keys and you will go into the vaults and collect treasure. And one of the ways you will get these keys is that you can find this rare mob out in the Forbidden Reach, which it's not a treasure goblin, but it's sort of like a treasure goblin. It's like some kind of acquisition specialist from the venture company that's here, doing what the venture company does and trying to steal all of the resources they possibly can. And when you go and you find this not treasure goblin, it will run away from you and you must chase it. You must chase it down and kill it to get your keys.
Yeah,
but if it takes you too long...
Put that in a mythic and we're good.
Yeah, if it takes you too long, it's gonna teleport away. So it's a lot like a treasure goblin. I think that's really cool. And I actually agree with you. Treasure goblins would be very interesting in Mythics. I think they would be a huge headache. Because one of the things with Mythics is that people really seriously hardcore plan how they're going to go through this. There's like a right path to go through, and that's the path. You take this one path to get the specific amount of trash you need to do to get your perfect percentage and minimize your annoying trash pulls. So that would definitely completely shake it up and make each run unique, but it could also mean you die a whole lot by running into like 10 trash packs.
Yes, it could. You see a problem, I see a solution.
But we are at least getting this treasure goblin, which is not a treasure goblin, not exactly, out in the Forbidden Reach. So I think that's a really interesting, kind of fun sort of Diablo callback coming in.
Yeah, I also wonder, now that you've mentioned it, maybe the cavern is underneath the Forbidden Reach.
Well, we know part of it is.
because that's a black dragon area. So yeah, interesting. I know we've got more. What else we got?
Yeah, so much.
The new world bosses.
We did talk about them a little.
We did, yeah. They're going to be a pair of jargon down there. Wow, did we cover everything?
Maybe.
I don't know.
Did we?
It took us 15 minutes, but we did
How
it.
did we do that? Okay, I will throw in a little bit of Hearthstone news for you, just as a little treat here at the end of the podcast. Hearthstone Battlegrounds is kind of at the midway point of its season, which means I've already finished the rewards track for the entire season, and I'm kind of bored because there are no more rewards to collect. Well, they aren't adding new rewards, so I'm still going to sit here without rewards to collect, but they are adding Battleground buddies back, which, buddies are kind of exactly what they sound like. Each hero has a buddy, which you can earn, and it will give you specific special bonuses. And they've changed the way buddies work in this interesting way. It used to be you had to kind of get like a certain number of kills or a certain number of wins before your buddy showed up. Now you will buy the buddy with a really high amount of gold. And so you kind of you have a little more agency there in that you choose. Do you want to rush to get your buddy as possible, or do you want to kind of hold back and focus on building your board and murdering your enemies? So I think this is going to be really interesting. We don't know when it is going to go live. Battlegrounds is my favorite way to play Hearthstone, so I am always looking forward to that one. I don't think either of y'all really play it, but Battlegrounds is that's my favorite. That's my favorite game. We also have Diablo 4 early access just around the corner. Oh my god, it's next week, isn't it?
Yeah, it's next week.
Yeah.
It's next weekend. Diablo 4 will be here next weekend. Oh my god, I thought I was excited about patch 10.1, but Diablo 4 is here next weekend.
Well, it's the early access for
This is
Diablo.
the Kermit flail right now. This is a full-on Kermit flail of excitement.
I mean, I was just over here kind of flipping through my calendar. I have a paper calendar sitting in front of me, and I turn the page, and it's like Diablo 4 early access, 9 a.m. Friday, the 17th of March. There will be an early access weekend for people who have pre-ordered. And the weekend after that, it's an open beta that anyone can jump in and enjoy. So I'm hype level 11 about this. Matt, what about you?
I don't even know how to explain it. I'm keeping I have this right now. I'm talking and I sound really calm, and that's because of just pure I take the information and I take it out of my consciousness and have an orb kind of floating around my head all the time, and that orb is just going, Diablo 4 is where you can play it, barbarian. You should spend the money, get to pre-order it now, and so I can go on with my life and actually accomplish anything other than just doing that. Because I have been waiting for this since 2019, when they did the BlizzCon preview for it. I have been waiting to actually get to play this game for 4 years, and it's going to be happening. It's literally if you've seen the meme where they're like, it's happening, it's like that. It's every waking moment is that guy just being flooded with light. So yeah, Galaxy Brain time.
We are so close. We are so close to Diablo 4 time. One thing I saw asked in the 10.1 interviews that have been all over the internet today is that someone asked, is the 10.1 release going to overlap with the Diablo 4 release? And they didn't answer that. They are not giving hints as to when 10.1 will be releasing, but it does seem pretty probable that 10.1 will be really close to the Diablo 4 release date on June the 6th.
Really happy I have two monitors.
I'm thinking my current theory is that it's going to be the last couple weeks in May. If the PTR is coming out tomorrow, or again yesterday, if you're listening to the recording, that means that 2 months of it, we would get it from March to April and April to early May. And that would be 2 months of PTR, which then we'd see a May 20 something release. That's my current thinking, which would give people just enough time to get sunk into it for Diablo 4 to come along and absolutely ruin everybody's raid night because there's going to be a whole lot of I can't make it tonight. I've got a cold. Lilith needs to die, and yeah, I'll hopefully be over it in a couple of days.
I've got a cold, and the only cure is more treasure goblins.
Yes, exactly. I must destroy everything and loot everything and kill everything, and I'm probably going to have to do it at a slightly slower pace than D3, but we'll see what happens. At any rate, it's time for me to go smash things. Smash things. I can't even lie to you guys. I'm blowing you off for Diablo 4. Well, I'll talk to you later. It's just, yeah.
The podcast will then just be a series of sounds of Diablo 4 as we like occasionally talk about like what's happening in game when we remember to, and not screaming and flailing as we go careening off into random directions to go accomplish whatever we need to in game. Maybe, yeah, likely.
I'm hoping that I'll be able to stop myself, but I don't have like high hopes. I don't think that I'm. Let's be clear here. It's a losing battle that I'm engaging with a much far superior enemy to myself, namely my desire to play Diablo 4. So who knows?
Mm-hmm.
We'll see what happens. For that matter, I mean, it would be hilarious if we show up for the first podcast after it comes out, and I've actually somehow managed to get myself not to play it. I'm like, so what are you guys doing? And this is like, can't talk. Room full of fire. And Joe is like, I'm turning into a bear. I'm turning into a bear. I'm turning into a bear. And I'd be like, okay, yeah, I guess I'm the only one here.
Because dang well, once I get my hands on that druid, you're not going to hear from me for a while. Like, let's be honest.
Yes,
it's going to be a series of. It'll be a series of guttural like sounds as I like cover myself in like animal furs and pretend I'm actually the druid.
So the initial early access weekend, again, Friday, March 17th, so close. There will only be 3 classes, the Barbarian, the Rogue, and the Sorcerer, which I'm kind of, that actually hearing that lowered my hype levels a little bit, yeah. Because I'm like, I'm Necromancer for life over here. Joe, I heard you weren't planning to jump in beta until the second open weekend when we will have Necromancers and Druids.
Yes, because those are the 2 most important classes. And I can hear Matt's like plotting my demise at this point. But like,
you're welcome to be wrong, man. It's fine.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to the second one. Just because I really, 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 really have been dying to play Druid. Like the fact when we were talking about Diablo 3 and the Druid didn't come back for Diablo 3, I was so crestfallen. It was not funny. And now I get to play as the Druid again, and I'm okay with this. I need it.
Yeah, I honestly do. Even though we all know which class is my baby, I do feel like the Necro and the Druid are fan favorites, and it's a little surprising they're not going to be in the open access. My theory is that they just feel like they need to get a little extra work in on them before they debut them to people.
They kind of want to start testing with kind of those basic, really core to Diablo classes, and then they're going to expand a week later, depending on how it goes.
Yeah, but at any rate, that's absolutely that is one, if not the, it's certainly one of the biggest releases of 2023 for me. Is Diablo 4.
Yeah.
I can't think of any game coming out this year that I'm more interested in. At least not right now. Maybe something will be announced, but at current, there are other games I'm interested in, but nothing is going to eclipse this one. This is a big bleeping deal. So.
And it's going to be interesting. We're going to have a battle pass. We're going to have seasons. It's going to be interesting to see how Diablo 4 plays out because we don't know exactly kind of what cadence the battle pass and seasons are going to be like, what kind of content they'll include. We know there'll be kind of meaty patches with story content and new features. So it feels more like a WoW patch as opposed to kind of a Diablo 3 season. I'm just really excited to see how they make this work. If anyone else out there is planning on playing the Diablo 4 beta over the next couple of weekends, you can also earn a baby wolf cosmetic pet, which will cuddle into a little bag on your back and just hang out with you while you go and murder demons and keep your little baby wolf cub safe. You will get that by hitting level 20 in the beta, either early access or open beta. And early access progress will carry over to open beta, but none of the progress will carry into the final game except for your adorable baby wolf cub pet. which I'm pretty hyped about that. I was not sure I would be playing the beta, and then it's like, if you play the beta, you can get an adorable baby wolf cub, and I'm like, yep, okay, I'm on board. Adorable wolf cub, I am there.
Yes, I will be like, reciting lines from Lone Wolf and Cub as I go about killing things.
I actually think we've covered the big news of the week.
Yeah,
I think somehow
just
and
in
we're only
time.
1 minute over. Yeah, we're exactly 1 minute over. So yeah, that was pretty good.
Do
We're
either
right
of
on
you
time.
have either of you have closing thoughts about this crazy week we were having?
I mean, I think that cross-faction guilds is such a... as soon as I heard it was coming, I was like, simultaneously, what? And yes, that's exactly what you should do, but I did not think you'd do it. Like, it just took me by surprise, but was exactly what I thought was going to happen. Both Joe and I have talked about the fact that we thought there was going to be some kind of underground component to this expansion.
Yep, we sure did.
So I don't think that that's a surprise, but I am really nice. It's really nice to see it, to see it laid out. And so far, if Blizzard can pull this off, if they can pull off 10.0.7 this month and the next patch in a timely fashion, they will have finished half of their roadmap.
Yeah.
And they will have done it by about the middle of the year. So that's pretty amazing. So those are my thoughts on this one.
Yeah, I mean, Matt pretty much said the stuff that I was going to say, so I'm not going to repeat him. So, but same page. All right. So I think that's going to do it, unless there's anything else y'all want to add. Otherwise, I'm just going to do my outro here.
Go for it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, friends, thank you very much for joining us on this very special Wednesday edition. And as a reminder, Blizzard Watch is made possible due to the generous contributions at patreon.com/BlizzardWatch. Your continued support means this podcast and community is able to thrive and grow. Blizzard Watch supporters enjoy exclusive benefits like early access to the podcast, a better chance at having your question answered on our podcast with a queue, and an ads-free site experience.
Thank you, Joe, for doing that outro for us. And thank you to Liz for taking the helm for the big topic list, because, man, there was a lot of stuff on that thing. Seriously, thanks.
Just a few things. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Nothing happened.
But, this has been the special edition of the Blizzard Watch podcast. Thank you guys so much for being here with us. And we will be back next week, hopefully on our normal time, because hopefully Blizzard isn't going to suddenly drop another huge info dump on us one day after we normally do the podcast.
No, wow. Yeah, that'd be a lot.
Secret hidden Diablo 4 class next week. Watch. You just wait.
Good night, everybody.
Bye, everyone.